And the first time I went, a lot of people were saying to me, oh, you're going to Tokyo, it's going to be so expensive. But coming from Sydney, it is really not. It's actually incredible, I think, the value for money that you get. So for example, what I would pay, I guess, in Sydney for a basic sandwich and a coffee on my lunch break, in Tokyo would buy me this incredible dinner meal of, you know, a main plus rice, plus miso soup, plus beer. It's really not comparable, I guess, to anywhere else in the world like that. And I think one of the best meals I ever had in Tokyo was okonomiyaki, and even though I've had okonomiyaki, which is a Japanese style pancake, I guess, I've had it in Hiroshima, and I also had once one in on Miyajima Island in a very, very huge electrical storm. But the most memorable one was in Tokyo because it was just so delicious. And we were walking down a small street. I think we'd just come from karaoke actually, so we were starving. And we walked down the street into a tiny little room and sat down at the bar, and you could just tell him what sort of meat or vegetable or anything that you wanted in your okonomiyaki. And they cooked it there in front of you, so it was fresh, it was instantaneous, it was absolutely delicious. And they also served it up with like a huge bottle of beer if that was what you're after, or a soda or water or whatever. So it was one of the best meals I've ever had in my life. What I was really there for as well was to shop, because at the time, and even now, I was obsessed with Japanese street fashion. It's so lively, and I think you really only get it in Tokyo. So if you go to the more rural areas or even the bigger urban centers outside of Tokyo, you don't see the same vibrancy and the same uniqueness. So I was determined as soon as I got there to go to Harajuku. I had read so much about it, I had seen stuff on like the internet, I had watched films, documentaries, I had books and books and books on and magazines on Japanese street fashion in Harajuku. So as soon as I got to Tokyo, that's where I wanted to go, and it didn't disappoint. I remember walking down Takashita Dori and just seeing all these incredible people and how they were dressed, and it was completely different to anything I'd ever seen before. It was beyond what I'd imagined. People were walking down the street wearing, you know, these incredible colours and combinations, and there was rockers, and there was goths, and there was, you know, really super kawaii cute girls, and I shopped and shopped and shopped, basically until I couldn't shop anymore because I couldn't fit anything in my suitcase. So I remember one week, it was my last week in Tokyo, so we would go shopping in the day, and then you'd break for lunch, and then you'd go shopping again in the afternoon, and then you'd go and maybe have dinner and go to a bar for a couple of drinks. And the amazing thing about Tokyo is after that, you can still go out and go shopping. So when we got to the airport, my baggage was about 25-30 kilos overweight, but I managed to bring all of it home with some waterworks to try and get the sympathy of the airline staff, which worked. So I managed to get all of it home, and it was one of the best things I love sharing with people who said, oh, what did you bring back, what souvenirs? And I really didn't bring back any of the traditional stuff, but I brought back these incredible clothes, and so I showed everyone that, and I wore them out, I think, for the whole first month I was back home in Australia, and it was just, yeah, it was amazing because no one else had anything like it, so.